98.3's News and Public Affairs Department.
Good morning. Welcome once again to Fort Meade Focus. Donna Renfro, your host on this Sunday morning. And as you know, we are broadcasting outside of our wonderful Fort Meade around Polk County and in eastern Hillsborough County. Today in studio, we're going to be talking about a subject that I know has touched a lot of homes in Polk County. And we're going to be talking about Alzheimer's. We're going to be talking about some of the stages. And maybe some of you need a little help. We're going to possibly have some resource information for you. And we're also going to be talking about a wonderful event coming up in November, promoting Alzheimer's Association and the various needs. So today I want to introduce you to our guest, Stephanie Thompson. She's program specialist for the Florida Gulf Coast Alzheimer's Associations. Good morning, Stephanie.
Good morning.
It's great to have you here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And Tommy Pate, who is helping with walks. In fact, Tommy, I understand not only you are a caregiver and you're a professional person with your own company, you are a top fundraiser for this year's event.
Yes, I am.
You're being humble, so we'll have to come back and talk about that. We've already been online and we've been looking at the numbers, so we'll talk about that coming up soon. The event is actually going to be November 14th, but before we get into the walk, let's talk a little bit about Alzheimer's in Polk County. Now, Stephanie, you were telling me earlier, what are we looking at in terms of numbers of caregivers and people in general?
Okay, so just Alzheimer's disease, we're looking at about 14,600 cases of Alzheimer's disease, and that's the individual with the diagnosis. And if you consider the families that are affected, there's usually at least one family member, so you can just go ahead and double that number.
Right.
And then unfortunately, there is other types of dementia. So the amount of cases of dementia in our county is a lot larger. So I think I probably should explain that if you don't mind. So dementia is the umbrella word.
Right.
And Alzheimer's is a type of dementia. So there's different types of dementia, and Alzheimer's disease is one of the top types of dementia.
And I think a lot of us fall into the category, and I'm sure some of our listeners who just say, well, when people get older, or if sometimes people just start forgetting things and they just say Alzheimer's. In fact, you hear a joke. Somebody apologized to me recently and said, oh, I forgot such and such. I think I've got Alzheimer's. And then they apologized, said, it's okay, I understand, she works around us and it's totally okay, she didn't say it in front of anybody, just me, and I know what she meant. She said, I was just letting off steam. And
yeah, I've heard short timers before too as a
there
joke.
You go,
yeah.
Short timers. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and like we were saying earlier too, sometimes laughter is a good thing. Tommy, tell me about yourself. You own your own business. You are a caregiver, and this is for a family member?
Yes, my wife was diagnosed at age 55, and she'll be 60 next Wednesday, actually. And but I've been very fortunate in that it's been a slow progression, and she's still at home, and which is uncommon for early onset. And early onset just means you're 65 years of age or younger.
Wow.
But she's also still early stage.
Yes.
And usually early onset goes faster, so I'm very fortunate.
Yes, and how wonderful. I know other people who've taken care of their spouses. I just think it's wonderful, brave thing and dedicated thing that you're doing. And this adds a lot to our report today, to what we're doing. Those of you maybe who haven't had that experience, it can be quite draining. Personally, I have a mother, and many people know her, and they're just amazed at things that she still can do. Now, she's older than your wife, of course. She's in her 90s, but she's been at home and she's had doctors, and we've taken lots of advice. And in some cases, many people do better at home. There's a lot of confusion that goes on, and there's things that go on in the mind of somebody with dementia that I just can't understand. But they don't absorb or process things. Is that right, Stephanie?
Mm-hmm.
So for instance, they might start. What are some of the signs that people might be looking for in their loved ones?
Mm-hmm. So when you're considering Alzheimer's disease, and remember there's different types of dementia, but for Alzheimer's disease, the primary symptom in the early stages of the disease is short-term memory loss. There are other types of diseases, and I would encourage everybody that's listening to go to alz.org and look up the 10 warning signs, because it will show you not only what those warning signs are, but it will compare it to what's normal aging. Because if I don't sleep, I'm going to have short-term memory problems.
Right.
But the next day, my memory will be better. So with Alzheimer's disease, it's, every day you're having these symptoms. It's just not, once in a while. It's multiple times that you're having them. So it's more severe, and it's impacting your daily functioning.
Correct. There's something there where the things that your spouse, the things that your mother or parent used to do, they can't seem to do the same. And then another sign that we noticed was things weren't placed in the regular place. They were odd places. They were hidden. There were decisions made, a lack of judgment. And that's another thing. Things that surprise you. But yeah, that something like maybe they like to cook, and then all of a sudden they just can't seem to get things finished in the kitchen or something. And so you want to get that diagnosis. Where would someone go again? You told them to look up on the website.
Yeah, you can start at the website. Just go to alz.org to look up the 10 warning signs. But I would encourage everybody to get a baseline score, a cognitive score, so you know what your brain looks like now. I encourage everybody to do that.
Ooh.
It's a really important thing to do. We don't think about it, but it's important to do. Yes.
You mean if I get that brain scan like in the movie?
Not a scan, but like a memory screen.
A memory screen.
Yes.
Will it show up like in the scene in the movie Still Alice? I don't know if any of our listeners have seen that, but it's a wonderful movie out with Julianne Moore. Julianne Moore, and she won an award for it. But if you haven't seen it, there's also the book. But there's a section. There's a scene in the movie where she goes to the doctor's office with her husband, and he literally shows her brain, where the patches of early onset really show up.
So that's and I'm just going to be honest, I never saw the movie, so I don't know what scene you're talking about, but I think what you're referring to is a brain scan. And what I'm talking about is actually a doctor asking questions.
Okay.
And it's testing like your short-term memory, testing your reasoning skills, testing your long-term memory. So it's testing certain areas of your brain. And there's short scales and there's longer scales. And I recommend individuals going to a specialist, because a specialist is going to give you a battery of tests that's going to be a deeper type of test. So, for example, a neuropsychologist. There's Dr. Jeff Redout. He works in Winter Haven. There's Dr. Tracy Henley, and there's other doctors. You can go to the Bird Center at USF. There's many doctors. You can go to a neurologist if you like, Watson Clinic. And I know it's not Clark and Daughtry anymore because Lakeland Regional and Clark and Daughtry merged, and I can't think of their name, but they have neurologists also. There's Neurology and Associates in Winter Haven. I mean, we actually have a lot of really good doctors in Polk County. We're really lucky. And we're very fortunate to have the University of South Florida with the Bird Center, and they're doing top-of-the-line research right there in our back door.
Right there.
But they're also doing diagnostic testing, and I don't know if you want Tommy to talk about that, but that's where his wife went. They went to the Bird Center.
Yeah, I mentioned that a little bit, Tommy, and also the fact that, am I right in thinking that if you get your diagnosis, whether it's you or someone else, I mean, you can start maybe on medications that can help, because although there's no cure yet, for some of these dementias, that you can get help, particularly with Alzheimer's. Okay, so tell us a little bit about your adventure, your work there.
In what you were talking about with the scene, so Alice is MRI.
MRI,
And,
okay.
So when we went just to our first interview, they scheduled a MRI and a thyroid test and just a cognitive 3-hour sit down with another doctor and ask you a lot of battery of questions. And actually my wife came back with the MRI showed some atrophy already. So that's where they were pretty sure at that time.
Okay.
But it was, we went, had the first interview, did all the tests, came back in a month, and that's when they told us, because we went over there, that word never entered my mind. I just knew she couldn't remember like she used to.
Right.
And it began when she had breast cancer back in 2001. And, people call it chemo brain.
Yeah.
And so I thought it was just that. She just needed to do some fancy, more reading puzzles and things like that, but it came back Alzheimer's, which was a total shock.
They don't really know. Are there certain things that could cause? Could trauma? Could an injury? Could certain drugs?
Well, there's a lot of theories about Alzheimer's disease, and the main theories that we're going with. So a lot of the research goes with it. There's plaques and tangles that are being formed in the brain that are causing inflammation, and then cells are dying, and then you have cell death, which we need our cells in order for our brain to work properly. Now, if stress is added to the situation, and this is kind of the question, and if you think of cancer or any kind of infection that's putting a stress on the body, what does that do to the brain? Is it actually causing Alzheimer's, or is it just the stress, making it come out a little bit faster than it would before? So if everybody can just compare themselves to a day they didn't sleep at all, If I did not
Right.
sleep at all, I probably wouldn't be able to communicate
Exactly. You can't.
very well right now.
Right.
I'm kind of stumbling a little bit actually, but I had my coffee, so I'm doing okay. But if I
Exactly.
didn't sleep, I might have a hard time. Well, that's the stress. Okay, so anybody, especially older adults, if you put them under stress, their symptoms are going to come out. So a lot of times somebody will go to the hospital and come back out, and their symptoms, or they might look like they have Alzheimer's disease or dementia because they're stressed.
Mm-hmm.
And then the question is that a cause?
Don't know.
We don't know. I would say probably not. It's probably not the cause of it. They're probably predisposed.
Right. And we don't probably have time to get into all of the drugs and medicines, but we have found that has helped a lot. There's things that slow down the progress. Exelon patches are new. They've replaced for us, and that there was Namenda, there was Aricept. And so
Those are still there.
They're still there.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's other drugs that if you're having, you're a very active person. We had situations where our mother was so physically fit, she could get away from us and start walking, and then they just know they're going to go, and you're picking them up here and there. The police are coming. I know this has happened with other people, and it's kind of scary. But there are medications that can at least help elevate their mood. There's maybe some people maybe get depressed. So there's a whole area we could go into maybe another time. But it's also fascinating. Give us a website again, or is the Alzheimer's Association Florida Gulf chapter that's separate from the other one we were talking about?
Well, we're a chapter of
Right.
the Alzheimer's Association.
Okay.
So we're the Florida Gulf Coast chapter. You can go to alz.org and learn lots of information. There's lots of information there. Our chapter is linked to alz.org. In the search engine, you could just put Lakeland or Fort Meade or whatever city you're in right now, and our chapter would come up.
Okay, and also the walk comes up, and that's what we're going to get to now. We are heading fast into the end of this third segment here. We've got the Walk to End Alzheimer's. So if you put in, like you said, act.alz.org, and then I put /polk. So then I pull this right up, and here, the purple color. Tommy, tell us a little bit about the walk. It's going to take place when?
It's going to take place Saturday, November 14th, and it begins at 9.
Right?
9
It was
o'clock
moved.
is
That's
registration.
good. Yes.
And 10 a.m. is the walk, and then after that, there's a program, and we've participated. My wife and I have participated the last 2 years,
Yeah.
but this year was the year I decided to get very busy and raising some funds because we really need that.
Okay, and the total funds is amazing when you pull this up. So far, it's over $63,000. No, 60. It's near 63. It's 62,441. Your goal is about 100,000. And
That's
you have
for everybody, not just me.
yeah, right.
Yeah,
That's just
Although that
right.
would be
That's
wonderful.
That
That's
would
the
be
total
wonderful.
goal.
For you.
Yeah, that's right. That's reminded. That's right for everybody. And so far, for total walkers right now, how many teams do you have?
I think it was 77 teams that we
Yeah.
had,
Yeah.
72 or 77 teams, which is
And
a
this is-
really big number. We hope for more people, though. We like this to be a really big year, so I hope everybody can come out. Even if you can't walk, you can come to the event to just be there to support it.
Absolutely.
Right.
And there's a lot of just vendors who
Yes.
people that know a lot about this. So if you can come out and learn a lot of information if you're just curious about that.
Yes, I noticed last year at Tiger Town you had tables set up and the purple colors everywhere. This year, though, there's a change. It will now be at Lake Hollingsworth. You want to point that out again? Go ahead.
It's at First Presbyterian Church. We've actually had it there before, so we're actually coming back.
Coming back.
Yeah.
Okay. I just knew last year it was someplace different.
Yeah, it was at Tiger Town last year. This year, though, it's at First Presbyterian Church, and we'll be walking around Lake Hollingsworth.
Okay, so the people, you can go and sign up there. You could also contribute there. We've got less than a minute, so we just want to, again, reiterate, that's going to be November the 14th. It's going to take, staging is going to be First Presbyterian Church there on Lake Hollingsworth, and so you can get there 9 o'clock. And we just think it's a great time. You can go online, I guess, and join one of the teams, or just form
Join
your
my
own.
team.
Yeah, join the
Join the
Paint Family Stars.
Paint Family Stars, and they're over $6,000. That's great. Congratulations. I hope the walk goes well. And anyone who wants to come out and learn more, like Tommy said, there will be plenty of information out there. So Stephanie, Tommy, wish all the walkers here coming up in Polk County a great time and much success. And, we all want to learn more. And help those around us who need help, and all of our caregivers. We wish you the best. So Thanks again for coming, and we'll see you again soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
You've been listening to Focus on Fort Meade, a production of Max 98.3's News and Public Affairs Department.